You're online at the Feel Good Station. Your first stop for feel good music, feel good chat, and much, much more.
The Cellar of Horrors.
Greetings and welcome to another edition of the Cellar of Horrors. I'm your host Tim Mendes along with Septimus the Spider. And yeah, we've got another fun-filled and exciting episode lined up for you this week, don't we, Septimus? In the first hour, we'll be joined by Irish gothic rock artist AVA VOX, and in the second hour, we'll be joined by horror writer Debra Caples. Yeah, we'll also be playing the new single from Rosegarden Funeral Party, a recent release from the Sirens of Light, a newie from Helalyn Flowers, and loads of other bits and pieces here and there. The track you heard to kick off the show was Still Ill by the mighty Sheep on Drugs from their 2010 album Medication Time. They played very recently down here, and as always, they were absolutely superb. I've seen them so many times over the years, always well worth checking out. Now, Septimus is a bit distracted, aren't you, today? Yeah. He's managed to get himself in some kind of online debacle. He's managed to get himself into some kind of flame war with somebody on... What is it you're on? On Mastodon. Oh, you're not on Twitter anymore. Yeah, you don't use Twitter anymore. Fair enough. So you've gone onto a new platform and already you've started an argument with somebody. What's it about? Dare I ask? Okay, you couldn't tell me on air. Okay, I'm not going there, Septimus. Yes, like a lot of people, Septimus has migrated to Mastodon. Yeah, Septimus the Spider and social media are two things that shouldn't mix, but do, frequently. It's terrifying. The amount of times I've had to step in to sort of stop massive arguments. You see, he doesn't realise that half the time he's using my account, so people think it's me being rude to them when it's not. It's really, in reality, a daft black and red spider. Right then, you, come on, over here. It's time for your moment. Alright, what have you got lined up for Septimus's synth moment this week then? Ooh, a solo track by Ogre from Skinny Puppy. Oh, excellent, okay. Which one are you going for? Tricks, brilliant choice. Great choice. Yeah, this is Tricks by Ogre.
Element reality filters of Asia. Time being, come, look forward back. Reality filter made of Asia. The filter made of Asia. Come on, look forward back. Now ending pre-list, pre-term, pre-wait, pre-war, pre-term, pre.
Low supply of life. How to wake up. Insane things grow like a funny fake out. The world lies up for the great divider. A lasting dose from the low insider. The mind plays tricks. The big fit sticks. The mind rejects. The master mind plays tricks. The monster fix. The gates seem closed, yet better than before. After dark, dreams fight the old ones. Sleep, hear the dog. Watch as he opines. The brain has to try. Extreme fights to hold on. Screams, fear to flight. Walks to the old song. The mind plays tricks. The big fix sticks. The mind rejects. All matter. Mind plays tricks. A monster fix. The gates seem closed, yet better than the mind plays tricks. The big fix sticks. The mind rejects. The master mind plays tricks. The monster fix. The gates seem closed, yet better than before. Past the part, dreams like an orphan. Extreme fear to die. Talks with a cold tone. Pray facts of time. Green like the old guard. Seems here to die. Walks in the ocean. The mind plays tricks. The big fix sticks. The mind rejects. The master mind plays tricks. The monster fix. The gates seem closed, yet better than the mind plays tricks. The big fix sticks. The mind rejects. All matter mind plays tricks. The monster afterthoughts. The dreams bites the old one. Streams near forgot. Some thoughts still cast.
You're online at the Feel Good Station.
excellent stuff. The song you just heard there was the brand new EP. It's the lead track of the EP. It's the title of the EP. Basically, the EP is that and a bunch of remixes of that. That was Halos by Helalyn Flowers. They previously released that song on their 2021 album, Arisis. I'm probably saying that wrong. But anyway, yes, that was Helalyn Flowers with Halos. Before that, you heard Ogre with Tricks, which is the title track from his 2018 album. Now, I'm a massive fan of Skinny Puppy. I always have been since I was a kid. I love them. I absolutely adore Skinny Puppy. But in recent years, I've actually preferred Ogre's solo stuff to the actual Skinny Puppy albums. I don't know why. There's just been something about the last couple of Ogre albums that have just been really, really good. In fact, I don't know what I'm talking about. They've all been really, really good. Like, right from the first one, Welt. I mean, that blew me away when it came out, because it was kind of like, hang on a minute, this is, like, listenable all the way through. Because, you know, Skinny Puppy do a lot of very experimental stuff. But this was almost pop, in a way. And yeah, it's just really good. It's like great to dance to and just really good fun. So long may it continue. Okay, we're going to crack on and we're going to get the guest in very shortly. In fact, we're going to get the guest in after the next track. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to play a personal favourite of mine from a band called Altered States. This is a song called Low Life. Unfortunately, the singer Yig passed away a few years ago, and it was a great loss to the world of gothic music because, Altered States were incredible. And this song, it's still a dance floor filler to this day. It's a great track. This is Low Life by Altered States.
Sometimes I get so confused. It's so cold in this room, and the mattress on the floor smells of you as I stare at the wall. For a moment your face slips into view, but no smile like before. Your mad eyes cup me up I chose solitude, I chose dead fears, I chose selfish sex and cold to have my tears. Inside I wanna die, inside I wanna die, inside I wanna die, inside I wanna die. No life, 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 oh.
The Feel Good Station, taking you to the best shows.
Build your soul
Welcome back to the Cellar of Horrors on the Feel Good Station. The song you just heard there was Crash by AVA VOX, my next guest, who is joining me as we speak. Hi there, how are you doing?
Great, Tim, thank you. How are you?
Oh, I'm marvellous. And cheers for coming on.
Oh, thank you so much.
No, I was just saying before we came on, I just picked up your album Immortalized recently.
Yeah.
And I'm absolutely loving it. It's a great album. So.
Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you so much.
That's all right.
Brilliant. Thank you.
And I believe that came out in March, didn't it?
It did. That's right. It was released in March, and we were very lucky because I know the UK were very lucky in the sense that the live industry, gigs were still going on at the beginning of the year. But for Ireland, we were in lockdown. Gigs, no bands, nothing. It was, oh my God, we were climbing the walls. And just before the Christmas, it took me a time to get a band together. Obviously because everyone had. I was in another band before that, and we all broke up from bands, and yourself, it was just crazy. And anyway, I managed to get a band together, but then we were like, when are we going to gig? like, and it's constantly kept, and I had started the recording of the album back in, wasn't this year, it was actually the year before. It was a project that went on from actually from the COVID, from sort of the September 2020. And then it went on, I went in and I did more recording then in 21. And then I decided that I'd go back in again, and I recorded 5 songs. So I did obviously 8 songs. It's a small album, but 5 songs that I did were original songs. I was working with this guy, sound engineer Ray McLaughlin, very talented. And I'd given him some stuff that I'd worked on with my old band, the Seven Veil. And when he heard it, he loved it. And so I said, right, Kate, let's get in there and put new life into it. And these would have been old demos that I had, you wouldn't believe it. And so I went in and gave it life again. And it was just an amazing feeling, to be able to go back and to be able to bring it up to date in a sense of the more, the AVA VOX, who is now, has got a bit more confidence. And I was able to put more to it. And to be able to produce it myself was just amazing. So doing all this stuff that I didn't get to do when I was at Seven Veil. At the Seven Veil, we did a lot of recording and all that sort of stuff, but I never did it on my own. So it was so amazing. So the album then, we decided would be released in March, but we were hoping that we could have a launch gig. So you can imagine. So we were sitting there waiting, what date will we get on launch, and the next thing, the Taoiseach got on and said, right, that's it. Everybody gigs, that was in March. Doors opened up, whatever, but he can get back out and gig. So we went out. We were really lucky then to be able to do our first gig as the new band with me. And we did a gig in Dublin, and it was an amazing, imagine, first gig, like we hadn't been on stage in, 2 years or whatever. And it was mind blowing. And the audience was just amazing. They were hugging me, and I was, I was overjoyed.
Yeah.
We were delighted them, and they would like to see us, and it was just such an amazing sort of party. It really was. It was brilliant.
That sounds excellent. It was a great relief for everybody, I think, wasn't it, when the doors opened up again?
Yes. Oh my God, wasn't it? Oh God, tonight it really was. And hopefully we never have to go back there again. Jesus.
Oh yeah, well, fingers crossed, eh?
Yeah, but you know what? You really appreciate it. During the COVID, I think a lot of us have had time to reflect, and anybody whose job had come like that, being a musician, whatever, you had to stand still all of a sudden. And I think it gave you time to reflect, where you are. And for me, I was really lucky because it gave me the opportunity to do this on my own as a solo artist. And, and I only became a solo artist then because I couldn't get a band. Because I'm musicians, but we weren't allowed to rehearse together. So it worked out very well. And it's absolutely a wonderful journey, Yeah,
so you mentioned briefly that you were in the Seventh Veil. So that was quite a while back now, wasn't it? When was that?
Yeah. Oh, God, 100 years ago. Hundreds of years ago, really. It was actually in the most amazing time. I mean, I was so delighted to be there and old enough to appreciate it. I started it off at the young age of 17, finding my voice, realising, start off as a backing vocalist, would you believe? It didn't last very long because I was like, I don't want to be back vocalist anymore. Lord.
You wanted the spotlight.
I wanted the spotlight, and quickly, went out and ran into record shops, took leaflets up in Pop Press magazine looking for musicians. Very quickly got a band together, and it was a great time because I'm sure it was the same in England. Music was everywhere, and live bands everywhere, and it was just non-stop. Amazing bands coming out. So we had no problem getting the band together. And the very time, I know you're going to be playing one of the songs, but the very first song I had got these musicians together, and he never actually heard me sing, you see. And we met up, and I liked the look of each other, probably. We were all very weird and everything. That was it, you look good.
Yeah.
And so the next day we said, right, okay, let's get into rehearsal studio. So booked in, and the next thing he decided on a song, and it was going to be, very first song I sang was A Forest, The Cure. And off I went, and I didn't look back. And I'll just let you know, I was very much influenced by male singers. Very, very, very much so. For me to be singing that, straight into singing, a Cure song. I got the opportunity on the album then to do Love Song.
Oh, brilliant. Nice. Yes, well, from your first song to your latest one, we're just going to take a little break now. Yeah. But you've just got a new single out, haven't you?
That's right. There's Alone Again as well as another one there that's
Yep.
come off the album. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. So this is Alone Again by AVA VOX.
I did not come out smelling of roses. I did not want it anyway. And now it's come to bite again. And I don't think I could take this strain. It's here again in rings of garlands, opened eyes and telling hearts. It's here again in rings of garlands, opened eyes and telling hearts. Push me hard against the wall. Kick me, trip me, hush me till I fall. Alone again is my own that says it all. Alone again is my own that says it all. Till I grow, till I grow. I did not come out smelling of roses. I did not want it anyway. And now it's come to bite again. And I don't think I can take this strain. It's here again in rings of garlands, opened eyes and telling hearts. It's here again in rings of garlands, opened eyes and telling hearts. Push me hard against the wall. Kick me, trip me, hush me till I fall. Alone again is my own that says it all. Alone again is my own that says it all. Till I grow, till I grow, till I grow, till I
Okay, we're back with Ava Vox. That was the latest release, Alone Again. So the album, I've seen in your press release that you worked with some
Yes.
quite impressive figures in that.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Oh my goodness. Because like that, when I was going to record the album, now this would have been in June of 2021, I hadn't really got a band together as such yet. Very complicated. I had sort of started getting musicians together, but you see, you sort of plan your whole recording and the people you're working with, and it was all booked and planned and the whole lot. So I had to go with that. But anyway, what happened was I ended up working with these amazing musicians and called their names out. You know, Ray McLaughlin was the sound engineer, but he also was a musician on it. He's a well-known musician. You know, he would have toured all around the world, and Robert Cassidy on drums, and these would have worked with likes of Mick Jagger and, you know, Elvis Costello, and it was amazing, and they were the most loveliest people. I mean, I went in, you know, and you're sitting there with these really experienced musicians, and you know, and I'm like, oh my God, and you know, because they were just beautiful people, lovely artists to work with, and I had to get musicians to help me out, and I couldn't have been so delighted with musicians. That Ray, you know, these were friends of his, and they were amazing musicians. And all I cared was that they felt the love for the songs, and they put the love in, and they did that for me 100%. Yeah,
that's absolutely amazing. So that album's out now, and people could get hold of that through your Bandcamp.
Yeah, that's right, and it's on Bandcamp, and it's out there as well as Spotify, YouTube. everywhere. But,
Wonderful.
obviously help the artists. We all need help.
Oh,
if you
damn,
can.
yeah, definitely.
Keep it
Definitely.
going,
That's it. Yeah, that's it. I should start a fund just to keep my fridge full, just feed an author.
And then don't forget to feed the DJs. We need that too.
Yeah, exactly. This is it. Yeah, there you go. So before we wrap this up, what have you got in the pipeline? What have you got planned for the future?
Yeah, well, I'm very lucky. I have a amazing booker, agent, promoter going to be working with me, who's actually based in the UK, and we're going to be we're doing a gig. We're touring around next year in the UK and Europe as well, Germany and whatever. So we cannot wait to get over and perform for you, so looking forward to that, really are. So getting things ready over here. Come the new year now, we will be ready to rock and roll, whatever you want. We'll be rolling. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, what you need to do is when you have some dates and things like that, you need to send them to me, and I can get them out on the show. So,
that's brilliant.
So I'll definitely try and come to one of the shows when you come over here. So I'd love to, because as much as I love sitting at home listening to an album on headphones, there's nothing better than standing there and watching the band play it. There's nothing like it. Yeah.
Well, I'm actually going to see The Cure now next week. So
excellent.
Wait. Yeah, they're playing. Yeah, so the feeling, like it's like,
yeah.
So looking forward to seeing Robert Smith and the whole band, and it should be a brilliant gig now, definitely.
Well, that brings it really neatly to the end there. So yes, thank you for coming on today. It's been absolutely great to talk to you. As I always do, I always ask the guests to choose a song that means something to them, a personal favourite of theirs. And yes, so what have you got for us today? I know you've already mentioned it, but go on, introduce it.
The Cure, A Forest.
Wonderful, great choice. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Tim. Love you.
Good station.
Misdirection stains my name. Realization through your game. Ghost burn. Tore a leaf from the great escape. Guess your world has a world it takes. I wish hell were free someday. Ghost burn. Ghost burn. Would fresh adventures rescue me? Hope stirs to extinguish the mind fire.
Welcome back to the Cellar of Horrors on the Feel Good Station. Excellent stuff there. The track you just heard was by In Isolation. It was a track called Ghost Burn from their 2016 album A Certain Fractal Light. Now, In Isolation have just released a big old anthology of all their singles, some stuff they did on soundtracks, and both of their albums. That's out now on Bandcamp. It's an absolutely brilliant package. It's pretty much everything they've done so far. And they're doing a tour next year. So far, they've announced dates in March for Nottingham, Heckmondwike, random, London, York, and Bracknell. Now, I know for at least one of those shows, Gothzilla are the support. Tim Jarvis from the band was on the show the other week. So, yeah, I'm definitely going to try and go and see them. I'll probably go to the London show, because it's at the Fiddler's Elbow, which I'm more than familiar with. They do have more dates on the horizon, apparently. I will keep you updated as and when. Before that, you heard a classic from The Cure. You heard A Forest. Now, that was the choice of our guest, AVA VOX. And thank you again to Ava for coming on the show, and also for sending me a copy of a new album, because it's absolutely brilliant. Yeah, go out and grab yourself a copy. It's really good. Now, coming up... Oh. What? What did you just call me? Oh, you were calling it to somebody on the internet? Oh, I thought you were calling me... I'm not even going to repeat what you said on air. Will you watch your language when we're recording? Blimey. Something interesting in horror gaming news. The remake of Alone in the Dark is coming out at the end of December. It's coming out on the 30th, so New Year's Eve, basically. Yeah, I'm so looking forward to that. The problem is, I'm going to have to buy a new console to be able to play it. So, so yeah, Septimus has been writing letters to Santa for a new console, haven't you? Yeah. Now, speaking of Christmas, he's already been plotting. We're going to do a Christmas special in the Cellar of Horrors. We're going to round up as many goth Christmas songs as we can possibly find. And, you know, there is actually a surprising amount. I mean, we already know about the classic Stuff the Turkey from Alien Sex Fiend. But, you know, it's going to be fun. It's going to be utterly ridiculous, but it's going to be fun. So, stay tuned with that. Yeah, next week as well, we're going to have a very special preview show for in the Black Midwinter 2 festival, which is taking place in Sheffield. We'll have one of the artists from that, Alexandria Corvin, on the show, and we'll be playing tracks from as many of the bands on the bill as possible. But I think, as I previously mentioned last week, there's 3 days, so there's a lot of bands to try and cram in, but we are going to do our best. Righto, what I'm going to do now is play another old favourite of mine. There's another old favourite of Septimus's, actually, because it's very sort of synthy twiddly. This is a song by the band Synthetic, and the track is called Trinity.
am I to do? How can I be sure? Will there be just one clear sign to guide me through my life? I will be something more. I will not fail and fall. I can survive this world. I was not born to die. If I had a heart, I'd tear it apart to know myself. If I had a way to live my life. If I had a heart, I'd tear it apart to know myself. If I had a way to live my life.
Feel Good Station, taking you to the best shows.
How to make it right. Some things are more than just a tragedy tonight. I never got the chance to hold you back before.
You're listening to the Cellar of Horrors on the Feel Good Station. Great stuff there. The first track you heard was an old favourite of mine by Synthetic. It was Trinity from their album ADSR. The second track you heard was by a relatively new band called Gallows Eve from Sweden. It's off their debut EP, 5 Hexes, which came out in May, and that track was called Death Magic. They're absolutely great. Yeah, like I say, the EP came out in May. I've only just discovered it. And I'll definitely be keeping an eye on them. Really good stuff. Proper quality old school gothic rock there. Oh, for goodness sake, Septimus, are you still arguing with somebody on the internet? Will you knock it off? Will you watch your language? Oh, you get us thrown off the air at this rate, you daft spider. You know, people set up like child locks and things like that for kids going on social media. I'm going to have to do it for this damn spider. Anyway, we're heading rapidly towards the end of the first hour, but stay with us for hour 2. We'll be joined by Texan horror writer Debra Caples to talk about her new short story collection and various other random bits and pieces. We'll also be playing the new single from the Rosegarden Funeral Party. I'm looking forward to that. Great band. As always, we'll have a load of other random bits and pieces, and we'll be kicking off the second hour with our traditional daft cover, or strange cover, our improbable cover of the evening. Yeah, we'll be kicking the hour off with that. Just like to mention now that if you want to come on the show, if you're a band or a writer or any sort of horror creative really, if you want to come on and have a chat with me, then all you need to do is contact me at cellarofhorrors@gmail.com. That's all one word and all lowercase. That's cellarofhorrors@gmail.com. Failing that, you can also contact me on various bits of social media. I'm on Facebook and all that other kind of stuff. I actually have a Cellar of Horrors group on Facebook. It's called Release the Bats and the Cellar of Horrors, so check that out. I'll put news and things like that in there. It's a double site because it also does my monthly goth night at the Carolina Brunswick in Brighton called Release the Bats. That's every last Saturday of the month. So if you're in Brighton, get yourself down and let's have a boogie. Yeah, it's always a good fun. It's always good fun. It's a fun night. I've been doing it for about, a long time now. It's got to be close to 10 years. Blimey, how time flies. Oh man, that is terrifying. Righto, yes, okay. Well, that's the end of the first hour, but stay tuned, and you are listening to the Cellar of Horrors on the Feel Good Station with me, Tim Mendes, and Septimus the Spider.
You're online at the Feel Good Station, your first stop for feel good music, feel good chat, and much, much more.
you out of my head. Oh, your love and it's all I think about. I just can't get you out of my head. Oh, it's more than a bit you think about. There's a dark secret in me. Don't leave me locked in your heart. Set me free. Feel the need in me. Set me free. Live forever and ever and ever and ever. I just can't get you out of my head. I just can't get you out of my head. I just can't.
You're listening to the Cellar of Horrors on the Feel Good station, and welcome to Hour 2. The track that kicked that off was this week's Improbable cover. This week it was by the Tours of Dartmoor from Germany, and it was their cover of Kylie Minogue's I Can't Get You Out of My Head from 2002. It was an EP of the same name. I absolutely love that version because it's turned, without making any real changes, just by the way the vocalist delivers it, but it's turned a sort of nice sort of poppy love song into something very stalkery. It's quite disturbing. I really like it. I think it's a great version. The Tours of Dartmoor, one of them criminally overlooked bands of the sort of 90s and early 2000s. I mean, their single Water King was an absolute dance floor killer. It was a great track. They're, seriously overlooked band. I urge you to go and check them out. Okay, coming up in this hour, we have some new stuff, we have some old stuff, and we also have an interview with Debra Caples, a horror writer from Texas. Okay. What the devil just happened there? Oh, for good... Right, that's it. I'm confiscating it. Septimus just lobbed the phone across the table and then came out with a bunch of obscenities, which I hope you didn't get on. I hope you can't translate. Yeah, he's threatening to stick that phone somewhere very unpleasant. Right, that's it. I'm confiscating it. Watch your language. I won't tell you again. I'll tell you what, if you behave, you can have another moment. You can have another synth pop track. Yeah, it's a deal, yeah? It's a deal. Right, so what do you want? Oh, nice, okay. I wouldn't have guessed that in a million years. Okay, yeah, it's a bit of an obscure one from you this time around. Yeah, from 1982's Insight album. This is UK Vision with Lucifer's Friend.
line outside your home. A life that's truly immortal, a lord of the unknown. I only go out in the evening, never seeing the sun, draining the blood from my victims to give me the strength to go on.
You're online at the Feel Good Station.
Part of me had given up faith in this
Excellent. That was the brand new single from Rosegarden Funeral Party that came out on November the 9th. It's called Almost Heaven, and that's available to download now on Bandcamp. Rosegarden Funeral Party put out an album last year called In the Wake of Fire. They also put out an album of covers, which I'll probably be diving into at some point very, very soon for the improbable cover moment. Yeah, great releases. Definitely worth picking up. Before that, you heard UK Vision with Lucifer's Friend, which was another choice of El Spidio to cheer him up because he's throwing a massive wobbler. He's basically, instead of throwing his dummy, spitting his dummy out or throwing his toys out the pram, he's throwing his flies out of the web. Yeah, he ain't a happy spider. Somebody's really cheesed him off on the internet. The perils of social media. It's almost time for our second guest, D. Caples. Before that, it's time for a cheap plug. Yes. I have a project that I've been working on behind the scenes for a while called Shadow over Doggerland, which is part of what is going to be the North Sea Cycle. It's an anthology of stories of the Cthulhu mythos set in the Atlantis of the North Sea. You know, that bit of land between the UK and mainland Europe, which is flooded, and yeah, we've come up with a mythos explanation of to why the flood happened. Yeah, it's out at the end of the month from Nordic Press. You can pick it up on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, all your I think you probably get it in Waterstones as well, from all your sort of good bookshops and reputable sellers of ebooks. Yes. Excellent. Now, we're going to have another relatively new track. I say relatively because it is brand new. But it's got a strange gestation period, has this. Bear with me. The band is the Sirens of Light. The song is Siren of Light. It's the album mix featuring Kandinsky Noir. Now, it's on a new album that's literally just come out, like a few days ago, called Nullus Margis Gothica MMXXI. Now, the reason I'm sort of hesitant to call it a brand new release is because it kind of isn't. Now, the Sirens of Light originally wrote and recorded this album back in 2004, and it was given a limited release in 2005. It was then lost. It just vanished. Then in early 2021, the original but not complete multi-track recordings were found completely by accident. So this version is an updated version of the album using as much of the original recordings as possible and obviously beefed up with new recording, So it came out on November the 8th, the album, and I'm really enjoying it. I missed it the first time round, and I'm so glad they rediscovered it and have brought it out, because, again, it's some brilliant gothic rock, like proper old-school gothic rock. I absolutely love it. So, yeah, here we go. Here's the latest single off the album. But I'm playing the album version, just because I always do. I prefer the full-length versions to edits. So, yeah, this is Siren of Light by the Sirens of Light.
Feel Good Station, taking you to the best shows.
Adrenaline. And now I want to go out clubbing. The perils of playing that track. That was an absolute banger from 1992. That was Rosetta Stone with Adrenaline. That was the mainline mix. Rosetta Stone brought out recently an anthology, and it's on that. It's basically got everything on that. So yeah, if you're looking to get in, if you're not already familiar with them and you want to get into them, that's the thing to pick up. Before that, you heard Siren of Light by the Sirens of Light, which has literally just come out, and it's awesome. So go and find it. Now it's time to welcome our second guest of the evening. I'm joined now all the way from the US of A by horror writer extraordinaire, Debra Caples. Dee, how are you doing?
How are you doing? I'm fine.
Excellent. Yeah, so how long have you been writing now? Because you're a horror writer, yeah? I think it's safe to say.
Well, my first story that I wrote was back in the 8th grade.
Right.
This girl in band challenged me to write a dirty story. She said, I bet I could write a dirtier one than you. And I said, well, we'll see about that. And I wrote it, and I put it in this little folder, and I gave it to her, and she She said, "This is filthy." And I said, "Yeah, so where's yours?" And she said, "I don't know." And the folder got lost. And this guy at school comes up to me and said, "Is this George, the Wild Virgin?" And I said, "Nope, not mine." And later on, I started writing stories, and everything sounded like a bloody romance novel. And so I sat down and wrote one of them too, and it was terrible. So I put it on the back burner for many, many years. And when I was about 60, I sat down and wrote a story called The Horse Bird. And my son and a friend of mine liked it, but nobody else did. I sent it into Asimov magazine, and they said, "This is not hard science. And by the way, our heroes do not give up. Our heroes stand and face what they have to face."
Oh, God. Yeah. I know that one. I've had that one myself.
Yeah, right. Altered Reality magazine published my first story, which was called Vampires. It was based on a real thing where people kept coming over to the house, and they'd hang out and, log on to our Wi-Fi, and they had no phone service. So they'd come over and hang out and use the Wi-Fi to get their phone service. I mean, they'd be parked down the freaking road. It's terrible, and I'd want to run them off. And so I kind of wrote a story about that. And yeah, that was my first book. Was my first story in a book was Scare Me. It came out 2 years ago, right before Halloween, and it had brothers. And Brothers is in Shadows of Death, this book also. But that's kind of how it all came about. And I was a little surprised that I ever got published at all. And I write a lot of different stuff, but it seems like only my horror stories get picked.
It's funny. I was talking to somebody else the other day, and they said exactly the same thing. I like writing this, and I like writing that, but the only thing that ever gets picked up is my horror. So you're not alone there.
Yeah, a lot of the stories in Shadows of Death are more dark fiction than outright horror. The ones that are horror are really horror. But
oh yeah. Well, I've read some of your stuff, and when you go for it, you really go for it.
You may as well.
Yeah, this is it, isn't it? It's like I call what I write is weird fiction. So, it better be pretty weird, doesn't it? So,
yeah. Your Lovecraft really comes out.
Yeah, this is it.
Yeah. I mean, I love it. When I read about your agent Gerald, crab, I thought, hey, that's great. And I saw that book review and, a reading, and you had several of the guests on the show that were in the anthology. And the next morning I was making breakfast and I put waffles in the toaster. And I thought, what would Tim be like as a waiter at Waffle House? And I thought, well, that would be interesting. So I wrote a story about it and sent it to you. And I said, "Do you mind?" And you didn't. So that was the book. Yeah.
Oh, I loved it. I was absolutely flattered. To be the inspiration for it. It's a cool thing.
Yeah. I really like More Hummus Than Human. Your book, and that was like plants. Somebody doing something to the plants and everything.
Oh, yeah.
And it was really gross. And,
that's the point, isn't it?
Your descriptions of what they did to those people were really great.
Well, it's like you were saying about, like, if you're going to do horror, you do go for it. I mean, I thought, well, I'm going to do some body horror, so I'm going to go for it.
Yeah. I mean, you could. You're descriptive with your writing, and it's like you could smell the stuff and all that. And
it's good fun, isn't it? Right. So what we're just going to do now, we're just going to take a very short break. We'll be back in a moment. In the meantime, I'm going to play you a classic track from the Bolshoi from 1986's Friends album. This is Away.
boys all loved you. You loved the money. The boys would stare. You'd cross your legs and then you'd toss your hair away. Yes, you get mine away. Money's scarce, but family honor brings it home, brings it home. And down the shop, the tongues they snicker. TV dinners, beer and liquor. Yeah. Skeletons fall out of cupboards. Curtains drawn, fall open to allow the light shows up the dust that plays around your face. Away! Yes, you get mine. Away! Yes, you get by. Innocence and lies don't make a perfect match. Leave your door unlatched, I know a word can be untrue, and yet still move you. And all that time they bring their friends round, dress you up, show you up, and all the time they told you it was true. Well, I'll believe you now, but then I just don't know why. I'd have to reconsider. Yeah, I know. When she got married, she looked fine in white and lacy frills. Oh yeah, she had a baby. It was painful, it was worth it. And all the time they stuck the knife in, pulled it up and twisted around.
Fabulous stuff. That was the Bolshoi with Away from 1986. Now I'm back with my guest, Dee Caples. So, your book, it's out now from Red Cape Publishing. What's it called again?
Yes, Shadows of Death.
Shadows of Death. What a title.
Yes. David Paul Harris, he approached me. I'd done serial work on his website, Mandatory Midnight, davidpaulharris.com, and he does illustrations. And he asked me, he said, what do you see in this picture here? And I said, well, it looks like a mummy coming unwrapped. And he said, okay. He said, would you be interested in writing some short stories? And I'll do the illustrations.
Oh.
I said, well, yeah, sure. And I said, we'll start off with this one. And here's my idea about thus and so. And I sent him the rough draft. Of course, I had the picture already done. And he said, okay. And I said, well, here, I found a few that I've already written that aren't published anywhere. So here you go. And I sent him several stories, and he drew the pictures for them. And I just kept writing story after story.
That's brilliant. Great. That's a really good concept. So does every story have a piece of art that goes with it then?
Yes.
Oh, that's excellent.
For each story, and it's broken down into sections. Like one is putting out the welcome mat. People who inadvertently welcome death, and one is whistling through the graveyard, which is the funny stories, and there's another and he draws a piece of art for each section, and then before each story, he draws another piece of work.
I like it when you get that collaboration between artists and writers.
Yes,
it just brings it onto life, doesn't it?
And he said, there's one. I sent him the last story, and he said, "Okay, here's what I want you to do." He said, "I want you to write a story about two brothers, and it's summertime, and they've had a good time, and suddenly the younger brother dies. Don't say how, but he dies." And the older brother kind of blames himself. And I said, "Oh, and there's this and this." And he says, "Yes." And the conflict in this. I believe that's my favorite story of all. It's called Shadow of Death. Yea, though I walk through the valley of.
Yes, I see.
Yeah. And it's, I think it made the perfect ending to the book. I'm a fan of Stephen King. And, my favorite of all of his books and all of his stories is the one called The Last Rung on the Ladder. At the end of it, I'm going, no, that was awful. And, but that's real horror. What we do to each other.
Totally, yeah. And he's very good at that as well. And it goes back to his old thing of killing your darlings, doesn't it? He's very good. At getting that emotional reaction. I guess that's why he's so popular. Because he gets that gut reaction.
Yeah.
So that was published by Red Cape Publishing.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Well, PJ Blakey Novis was on the show a few weeks ago, and he lives down the road from me. So he lives down the road. We do book fairs and things together in the summer. And
well, tell him I said hi.
Well, he'll hear.
He's a nice guy.
Yes,
and I totally screwed up the editing job. I think I got it figured out now, but I added things. I told him, I don't think I'd ever stop editing. Give me a finished story, and I'll still find something screwed up about it.
I'm the same.
Are you the same?
Oh yeah. Well, that one, Miracle Growth, when I gave it to Erie River, when I gave them the draft, Michelle came back with a few developmental edits and things like this. And when I sent it back, it had grown by just under 20,000 words. So it was twice. It was almost twice as long when I sent it back.
Miracle Growth was a lot of fun, and it has a catchy title. Titles are really important.
So the cover for that, speaking of important things, because the covers are important, was that your artist that did the cover for that?
Yes. That was David Paul. He does a lot of artwork for Red Cape Publishing.
Yes,
and he's really good at it. He does it all digitally. Yeah, he does a great job. I had a lot of fun working with him.
Excellent. Well, thank you for coming on today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's I great
appreciate it so much.
Yeah, well, we'll catch up again another time, definitely, because I think we've got quite a lot of stuff we could get into. But so thanks for coming on the show.
All right, thank you, Tim.
Okay, I'm going to play you now a classic from LA New Wave legends Wall of Voodoo from their 1982 album Call of the West. This is Tomorrow.
About the night before and everything I said. I made lots of promises I know that I can't keep, so I'll do them tomorrow. That seems like a pretty good idea to me. Life is moving faster, I can feel it every day. I've got trouble keeping up with what other people say. Big problems in the world, my life's just a social swirl. But I'll do it tomorrow. That seems like a wrong with tomorrow? I'm watching him, but who's watching me? Out my window, there's nothing where the city used to be. Phone line dead, the power gone, there's nothing on TV. Can't understand what happened to all the plans I made. I turned on the radio and hear the signal fade. Really loud. But I'll do it tomorrow.
Life is moving faster. I can feel it every day.
So I'll do it tomorrow. That seems like a pretty good idea to me. What's wrong with tomorrow? I'm watching him, but who's watching me? I'll do it tomorrow. If I got enough time. I'll do it tomorrow, and things will be fine. I'll do it tomorrow, can't spare today. I'll do it tomorrow, that'll be okay. I'll do it tomorrow. Let's do it tomorrow. What's wrong with tomorrow? I'll stop the clock. Let's do it tomorrow. Talk, 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 talk. Let's do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. What's wrong with tomorrow? This goes on now. I'll do it tomorrow.
You're online at the Feel Good Station.
dark. He's the thing nightmares are made of. No mortal form can hold him back. Evil lives forever. It's been such a long time, and time can be so cruel. The horror you feel is about to go old school. Under a full moon's wicked spell, a coffin shakes and cracks. It's a long cold day in hell. Now Bela Lugosi's back. The creatures of the night, what music they make, we'll remember how to scream. Now Bela Lugosi's back. He's the eternal Lord of the darkness. He'll drag your a tormented soul into madness you'll never escape. Can you feel terror in the air? Beware. Stay away from the graveyard at night. Take flight. Bela Lugosi's back. Under a full moon's wicked spell, a coffin shakes and cracks. It's a long, cold day in hell. Now, Bela Lugosi's back. The creatures of the night. What music they make. We'll remember how to scream. Now, Bela Lugosi's back. Under a full moon's wicked spell, a coffin shakes and cracks. It's a long, cold day in hell. Now, Bela Lugosi's back. The creatures of the night. What music they make. We'll remember how to scream now. Bela Lugosi's back.
Cracking tunes there, back to back. The first one you heard was a classic from LA band Wall of Voodoo from 1982. That was Tomorrow from their album Call of the West. Most people don't know a lot about Wall of Voodoo. Most people only know their hit Mexican Radio. But I urge you, especially that album, Call of the West. It's great. It's a great album. Really atmospheric. Really cool. You know, I really enjoy it. After that, you heard a song by a band who joined me last week for a chat, Lesbian Bed Death. That was their song Bela Lugosi's Back from their 2010 album, Designed by the Devil, Run on the Dead. Now, I was supposed to play that last week at the end of their segment, but I simply didn't have time because it's quite a long track. So there you go. I've fulfilled my promise. I said I'd do it this week, and I have. There you go. Thanks again to this week's guests, Ava Vox and Dee Caples. And again, if any of you want to come on the show for a chat, if you want to come on and plug something, a tour, a record, a book, a movie, whatever you like, if you want to come on and have a chat, I promise I'll put Septimus in the box. Just get in contact with me at Cellar of Horrors, all one word or lowercase, at gmail.com. That's Cellar of Horrors at gmail.com. Well, that's bringing us neatly to the end of this week's show. As always, we've had fun, haven't we, Septimus? He's still stropping about that guy on the internet. No, I'm not going to repeat what he just said. Yeah, well, hopefully he'll be in a better mood next week. So, right, what we're going to do to bring this to a close, I'm going to play you a dance floor classic, an old favourite of mine, one that I still bring out every now and then. You know, if the dance floor's a little bit, low energy, if you want to kick it up a couple of notches, this is a perfect track. This is from 1999. The band is Raised in Black. The song is Oh My Goth. This version is the EP version, which is an re-EQ'd remaster of the version that was on the 1996 album Shrieks, Laments and Anguish Cries, which I always think is a great name for an album. They're a great band, Raised in Black. They weren't around very long, but I urge you to go back and check them out. A good starting point is this EP. It's got a really good cover of New Order's Everything's Gone Green on it as well. It's good. It's a good one. So yes, that's it from me, and that's it from Septimus. We'll be back next week. And next week is a very special show. We'll be doing the In Black Midwinter 2 preview show. It's a festival that's happening in Sheffield around the weekend of the 16th of December. And we'll also be joined by one of the acts from that show, the superb Alexandria Corvin. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. She's also been in bands such as Last July and Rhombus. So until then, it's good night from me, and it's good night from Septimus.
Teaching you ladies, I love it.